And here we go again, the first ever Gzilla Dominator Show. And welcome. Here I am again, Gzilla Dominator himself. I want to thank a very special person, for none of this would be happening today if it wasn't for my great soon to be son. I continue. I call him my son because he is my son, Ben. Thank you so much, Ben. A big shout out to you for setting all of this up for me. And thank you again, man. Appreciate. He's also my MOD on this YouTube channel. So, everybody be good. All right, let's get down to business. Today's show is something that's true to my heart. Start out with comic books, but always I spend a lot of time at the library. Books. I used to read a lot. And then, as life comes along, we all get busy. So, don't get a lot of time for books. But with this big old D word above my head, they recommend, books. With me, it's audiobooks. I got turned on to this this book site called Pocket FM. I got sucked into two amazing books. One is called God Eye. And if you ever get a chance to listen to it, oh my God, my friends, listen to it or read it. It's a manga. It's amazing. After the first chapter, I was hooked. And I did not want to stop. And I continued to listen and listen because it said it was free. Same with, the vampire one. I continued to listen at first chapter. I was hooked. Well, free isn't free, my friends. It's not at all. Well, what they want you to do is they want you to wait 24 hours for the first time, and maybe you'll get 3 chapters, and then after that time, you have to wait 48 hours. Or you can buy coins. Or you can do their surveys, which takes forever. I've done a bunch of them just because once you're hooked on these books, you just want to continue to listen to them. Well, I ain't got anything against commerce, but man, Pocket FM, I give you a big thumbs down, because you should not do that to people that love books. There was another site I tried that was almost identical to Pocket FM, and it's called Nova Beats. They do the same thing with audiobooks and podcasts, and they actually have books. But then again, you start reading a book, and after a while, they won't let you read no more unless you pay. You shouldn't have to pay to read a book. That's what libraries are for. But that's my ranting on that. But if you do get a chance to God Eye, it's a martial arts fantasy, and it is amazing. And the one about the you have to pardon me because sometimes my brain plays little tricks on me. I can tell you what this one is. Sorry about that. My Vampire System. Oh boy, it's not just about vampires. It's about people with abilities and distant planets, and it's crazy. So if you get a chance, listen to that. Now that one's available on Audible, also Amazon. They have the manga. So check it out if you get a chance. That's my recommendations. those two books. So, and speaking of books, I've got a whole lot of books I'd like to talk about. These are basically from TV shows and movies. First, I'm going to start out with a TV show that's dear to my heart, and I'm sure it is for a lot of people that grew up in the 90s. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh boy, am I a fan. I went to the conventions. I collected the card games. I have the action figures. I had the autographs. The people are fun. If you ever get a chance to meet any of the actors, they're awesome. They're not standoffish. They're really cool people. But man, during the show, they started writing these books, and there's a bunch of them that if you get a chance to read these books, I know they're hard to find, but you can get them at the local library. But there's one book, a couple trilogies from their spin-offs of the show. One is called the Gatekeeper Trilogy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And book one is Out of the Madhouse, and it basically starts Buffy spiraling out of control in her mind, and it's crazy. And then she ends up in book two down these ghost roads, where in book three she ends up meeting up with the Sons of Entropy. So that's my recommendation for a good book trilogy to read if you're a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And also, if you're a fan of Willow, which a lot of us are, she has a book series that's a trilogy, and it's called the Wicked Willow Trilogy. And a lot of that has to do, if anybody remembers, when she was a vampire. The one is called The Darkening. That's the first one. That's when she was in her vampire form. So that's really cool. And the second one was called Shattered Twilight, which I'm not going to give away, but once you read the first book, you're going to get hooked. And the third book is Broken Sunshine, and I don't want to give it away, but it's a little sad. But it's a good trilogy, so hopefully you'll check these books out. But that's a G-Zilla Dominator recommendation for the day. Hopefully you guys will check it out. And while we're talking about books, something I would like to have all of you do that are following me now, and hopefully you will, once this show gets going, you'll, have your friends like and subscribe me, word of mouth, have people follow. But if you do, what I'd like you to do is in the comment section, write down some of the books that you like and send them to me, and I'll give them a go, and I'll tell you what I think about them. If I say I'm going to read it, I'm going to read it. That's true to my heart. I love books, and I will give you an honest opinion about them. So please do that. Write down them books, and I will give them a try. So thank you so much, everybody. Here's a fun one. If anybody has never read this book, I'm hoping you all have. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You guys gotta read that. This one is the ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is an amazing book. You have to read this. If you've seen the movie, it doesn't do the book justice. You gotta read the book. If you like the movie, read the book. That's all I can say. It's a great book, and it is fun from beginning to end. So here's another recommendation from me. So please give it a try.
Awesome!
All right, and next on our list, a lot of you guys are going to probably give a lot of once I start talking about this, and it all gives. I'm gonna talk about Twilight. Um, Everybody's kind of, either likes Twilight or don't like Twilight. I like Twilight, but don't get me wrong. It's the vampire and the shapeshifter aspect that I like of it. It's not the shiny or the love story that I like about Twilight. You got to read between the lines and actually listen to the storytelling. What I like about Twilight is the different take on vampirism, their powers, for one thing. But the whole venom thing, when they bite their victims, that is crazy to me. So to me, that's a very cool way, and a new way of vampirism. And also their special abilities. Each one of them had their own special powers. And I wish Stephenie Meyer in the future would stop and look at more of that part of the book series and like the Volturi and actually get a little darker with it, because there's some fun that could be had with the book series. They talked about werewolves. Jacob Black was a shapeshifter. He wasn't a werewolf. I'd like to see the other spooky things hiding behind the mountains and stuff, and see what would really happen. They talked about all this stuff, but we never ever got to see any of it. But I know there's probably going to be some things said. Twilight, it's about sparkly people and all love and all. No, you really gotta read the book and not think about so much about the love story. Even that the part with Bella having the baby. I mean, think about that. She's got a half human, half vampire, a whole new species inside her. That to me was probably the coolest thing of the movie series. I thought that was awesome. So there's a lot of things I did like about the whole series. They could have done away with a lot of the wedding stuff and all that, but they had to because of the Twilight fans and that. But I honestly would have loved to see like a lot more detail. They left out a lot of stuff that could have been put into it, and I kind of am sad about that, because there's people that could have been fans of the Twilight series, that they kind of shunned away. But speaking of Twilight, there's a book out there. I don't know if any of you have ever read it, but to me, it's a good book. And it is more on the darker side of. It's the Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. This is a good book. And this is the dark side that I was talking about. This was an amazing read. I've read it several times, and there's so much going on. And I would definitely recommend this book. Even if you never read the Twilight books, you could still read this and get the gist of what it was like to actually be a young vampire during that time. But it was a really good read. And speaking of Stephenie Meyer, she did finally come out with Midnight Sun, which was an amazing book. Very good book, Midnight Sun. If you haven't read it, I recommend reading it. It's a whole different spin. It's not all Bella and all Jacob and all that stuff. You ought to give it a read. If you read it, put it down in the comments and tell me what you thought about it. It's been out for a couple years, but it's a really good book. So, that's my recommendation. Another one of her books that was good was The Host. The book's better than the movie. The movie was really cool, but the book was better. The whole alien thing, I loved how they did that. Um, Stephanie Meyer, she's got a lot in her. I hope she puts out a lot more stuff because she was starting to get into the mystery and the serial killer kind of thing. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, um, definitely. I'm about done here. I'm sorry this is so short, but this was kind of a last minute decision for my first ever podcast to do. I was going to have a guest, but they got sick. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about books. I love books, so I'm going to talk about them. I Something else I love too is music. Love music. I got a lot behind me, as you can see. Movies too, music and movies behind me. But please, in the comment section, uh, let me know what kind of books you're into, what kind of books you recommend to me, and I will see you next time. And have a blessed day. Thank you all for watching.